Brains with the Brains Report, and today we're going to talk about the Lettuce Grow Farmstand Nook. And I just got done today harvesting my sunchokes from my garden outside, and that's kind of the last thing to do before winter sets in here in Michigan, and there's really no outdoor gardening to be done. So I was really excited to test this hydroponic gardening system because I can garden year-round, and it feeds my need to grow lovely green things, but it's super easy. And this isn't the first one that I've tested, so I knew that it was something that definitely would make me much happier on these cold, gray, dreary winter days here in Michigan. So let's talk about the cost first. It is $800 just about, so $799. And that does include everything you need to get started though. It's got the full setup, including the lights and a pump and a timer that you set and plug in, and it automatically will do the timing to keep the lights on for 14 hours of the day and off for 10, and then watered incrementally, or I don't know, intermittently throughout the day. It also has all the nutrients that you need to keep your plants well fed, and then also a water testing kit to test the pH and some pH down stuff in case your pH gets too high from all the recycled nutrients and water in there. So let's talk a little bit about the setup first. It comes in a big box and all the pieces are apart, and it was a little bit daunting at first to be like, because the lights all had like a bunch of, you know, cords in between them and everything like that. But it does have a handy setup guide that walks you through step by step how to do it. And they also have gorgeous videos that really made it super easy. One thing that I learned though is if you just scan the QR codes for the different videos, the little video player popped up and I couldn't see the whole video. Like it wouldn't expand in my phone. It was like really not helpful because I couldn't see some of the things I needed to see. However, if you download their app and use the app, the videos on there work perfectly. And that's actually the way that I would recommend going, is use the app and use those videos there versus trying to do it. But you don't need to use the app if you don't have, you know, a lot of capability, or you don't want to add another app to your phone. You don't need it in order to set this up and use it. It did take about 2 hours. Like I said, it was 45 minutes just to put the thing together physically. And then it was about another 30 minutes to fill up the water, check the water, add the nutrients to the water, and then another 15 minutes of putting the little seedlings in the cups and putting the little tags for what they were onto the seedlings. And the tags were really fun. They have like little phrases on the back of each one that are different. For example, we've got the little tomato ones here, and it says kind of a big dill, which would make sense if that was a dill instead of the dwarf cherry tomatoes, but in any case. And I will say, hands down, my very favorite plant on here is the tomatoes, because how cool is it that it's got all these little tiny tomatoes on there, and they're really good. The first ones, you can see the smaller pointy ones are kind of the first ones that came on there, but like, they're kind of leathery, but the newer tomatoes are like perfect little tomatoes. They're so great. And then I spent the last remainder amount of time, over 15 minutes, trying to pair the darn smart timer with the app on my phone, and it just wasn't working at all. And that could have been a little bit of an issue with my phone. I had an Apple, and it needed a new update, and it needed more storage. And I finally got that figured out, and it did. I was able to pair it, and you can set and adjust the timer for it. So when the lights will go on, you can snooze it, which will turn it off immediately. So say you've got it in the same place that you're trying to watch your movies on the projector, and it's just so light that you don't want it on there, you can turn it off, which is nice, and then it'll turn back on. And an automatic timer makes everything so easy. You don't have to remember to water your plants. You don't have to remember to, you know, make sure they've got enough sunlight. It's all taken care of. As far as the setup goes, like I said, 2 hours, everything was kind of there, ready to go. The seedlings came, and this was because they sent us, you know, this product. They came 9 days before the actual setup did. And so I had to spritz them with water daily to try to keep them alive until we got the actual Nook. Usually though, they don't even send you the seedlings until you have got the device, you've logged into the app, you said, I'm ready for my seedlings. And then they arrive in 1 to 2 business days. If you wanted to get additional seedlings, they cost $2.99 each. They have kind of a seasonal selection available. They say they have over 100 different plants available, but from what I was looking at, it's whatever's available seasonally. So it's not all 100 available all the time. So you're kind of limited in that respect. They also have a couple of different setups, like an outdoor and indoor lettuce grow original farm stands, and those ones have kind of some different options as far as sizes go. They go from small to large. You know, small is like 16 plants, and if you were to do it outdoors with no lights or anything, but it still comes with a pump, it's like $5.74. If you were to do the large one and include the lights and everything, it's 36 plants for $1,423. So you've got a lot of like options as far as it goes. Very similar. This particular model though doesn't have the same, it's actually a more condensed setup for the lights and everything. Instead of a big ring light, they've got these little, I don't even know what to call them, little tripod, little lighty lights, but it's definitely a sleeker design. And then they have different plants available for their different things. So if you're getting outdoor plants, you've got more variety for that versus your indoor plants. So that was something interesting. And I did say they were $2.99 per a plant, and they all come as seedlings. They're already starting to grow. You also have to pay $10.95 at least here to Michigan in express shipping, because they're not going to send it ground because they are live plants. Like, you don't want to, you know, have them die in the mail. So that is an additional cost there, is that anytime you're ordering additional plants, you're going to have to pay an additional shipping cost. So that was something interesting. One of the other things, you know, I did say that we got our seedlings early, and I spritzed them, and some of them were looking really, really sad. The thyme in particular was like, I was like, I don't know if this is going to make it. Every single one of the plants that we got did make it. And the thyme bounced back so well and is so happy, and you can see that it's doing fine. So the nice thing is, you know, they know their stuff. They've got a really great nutrition as far as it goes, and the plants grow like crazy. In fact, if you just kind of ignore it for a while and maybe don't trim it as often as you should, and it gets completely overgrown, and I will show you a picture here to show you how overgrown I let it get, everything was still fine and good, and you could just trim it down and use that stuff and eat delicious salads and share a lot of delicious salads with friends. So back to the setup. Once you get it set up, you've got 14 days, 2 weeks where you don't have to do anything, which is nice because it's a little labor intensive to set it up. But once it's set up, it's just sitting there doing its own thing, turning on, turning off, watering the plants for 2 weeks straight. And then from there, you've got weekly maintenance. And the app gives you a nice little checklist of what your weekly maintenance is. It's mostly just filling up the water. And it's got a nice little port right here that you just open up and pour your water in. It's a little difficult to see what the fill line is. I'd have to like use my phone with the, you know, flashlight to make sure that I was getting close to the fill line or not, because you don't want to fill it up again, you know, too much and have water leaking out of this the seam here. Oh, goodbye, little tag. But it's basically just a big water reservoir here, and then it's got pipes that go up all the way through to you know, pump the water up, and then it drips down and gets all the plants. The other thing you have to do with your weekly maintenance is add nutrients to the water if you're adding more than a gallon of water. And that's all really easy because you've got the bags of nutrients here. They have little measuring cup spoons that they come with. So you just put in a little scoop into each one into a gallon of water. You put it in there, and it's so easy. And then you want to regularly test to make sure that the pH is fine. And it's got, like I said, everything you need to do that. A little kit, a little pipette to pull out the water, and a little bit of the down stuff. So as far as the maintenance goes and the regular stuff, it's super easy. It doesn't require a lot. You do need to trim off what you're going to eat. Otherwise, it does quickly grow into the lights, which can, make it a little crispy on those parts of it. But, as far as it goes, it doesn't require anything additional. You just pull the food off and you can eat it right there. One of the things that you do need to keep in mind is that there is quarterly maintenance as well, and we are due for quarterly maintenance, and I'll show you why. You want to look right in here. Do you see those roots? Those roots are crazy. And I went and trimmed the heck out of this thing, and the mint specifically, and anybody who gardens knows that mint is insane. But you don't need to get that deep on the roots, come on. The mint was coming out of other places. So keeping up regular maintenance on it and, trimming down the roots is something that I had to do on the previous hydroponic experience I had. They had us actually just go ahead and trim any of the roots. But this one, it says, just let them grow, and then quarterly, so every 3 months, go in and take everything out and put all of the live plants that you want to put back on there, put them onto in a little tub of water to keep it nice and keep it in the shade. And then you dismantle, take it all apart, clean it all down, remove any of the roots or anything like that. And they do have an additional cleaning kit for $13 that is specific to it, and it has all the things that you'd need to clean, like a little brush and stuff. And then it also and it also has a citric acid that you can put in there to do a deep cleaning of the actual pump and everything, and run it with some warm water for 2 hours. And it has all of that options on the app of you can run the cleaning process there. And so it's pretty easy. It is a little intensive though for quarterly. You'll see here we've got some empty spots. And the reason we've got some empty spots is because you do have kind of a growth cycle on these. Some of these things you can just kind of let go and keep, trimming off of them and eating them. But some of them, they just kind of, you use them up and then they're gone. And it still works fine with the empty spots. So as far as it goes, if I were to continue to just, let things grow and then empty them, I'd probably wait until it was almost completely empty before I got new seedlings, because I knew that I would, have one shipping thing and then order them all at once, completely refresh it, and then be able to only charge the one shipping fee. As far as other stuff like additional accessories you can get for this, they do have a dolly available, which is basically one of those little round things with wheels on it, so it is more mobile. Because when I was setting this up, I realized, oh, well, this is where it lives now, because that's a lot of water. It's very heavy. I can kind of turn it around a little bit to trim it, and that's great, but I can't really move it. It's not a mobile setup, but they do have a dolly if you want it to be. They also have a mat that's like a silicone round mat that is $40, and so you can get that additionally as an accessory as well. One of the things that I really like just in general about having in a hydroponics, and this kind of goes into who is this for, I love that it has additional light during the darkest time of the year. It's almost, I'm not going to say, I'm in no way medically inclined to know this, but I would say it helps kind of like a mood light would, as far as adding that additional light. We also have a very dark, first floor. I can't put a lot of plants usually in this area, so if you've got a space that doesn't have a lot of natural lighting, this is so great, because not only does it provide its own lighting, I'm able to put a couple of plants near it, because I know that it's going to get kind of that cast off light and they're not going to die in this dark room. Also, this is for people that maybe have some limited space and don't have a whole lot of area for a lot of different plants. In addition to having really a nice variety of herbs like thyme and cilantro and delicious garlic chives, you can get fruits and vegetables, and you can get all sorts of lettuces, and it's really nice. They have flowers too, edible flowers. So, it gives you a good variety of plants you can grow there. I think my camera person has a question, yeah?
Yes, would you say for a good time call Lettuce Grow? Sorry, that was not worth being on audio for. Sorry, Erin.
That's
Continue.
I think that this is also really great for people who are foodies. Like I was saying, there's definitely a lot of different options, for fresh produce that you can harvest and use immediately. You don't have to let it sit on the, store shelf before you get to it and bring it home and make sure you keep it fresh. This is, any time we need some thyme for a recipe or, some cilantro, like it's fresh, it's right there. So I love that as a foodie. It also is a really great way to do a low lift gardening. Like it's not requiring you to go and be bending down and doing a bunch of weeding and a bunch of, testing your soil, making sure that you've got enough, fertilizer and everything. It kind of takes out all of that and makes it a super easy year-round gardening experience, which is so nice, especially as these bones get older and digging in the dirt like I did earlier today is not, the most pleasurable thing all the time. This is a very easy and, like I said, low lift way to really, garden and get those things growing. This would be a great gift for somebody that has a green thumb or maybe wants to get into gardening and learn a little bit more about it. This would be an awesome gift for them. Is there anybody else you think would be a good kind of audience for this?
Maybe preppers, like, yeah, if you want to be ready when there's an SHTF situation, like, you can grow your own stuff wherever you are.
Absolutely. This definitely has the ability to, like I said, it's got a very small footprint, but has a lot of nutritional value for that. Let's talk alternatives. We've tested the Gardyn, and I could be saying that wrong. It's Gardyn. It seems like it's pronounced Gardyn. Home model. They also have the studio, which has got the smaller footprint. But the home has 30 plants available to it, and it looks completely different. And I'll show you a picture of that because I recently took a picture of it in a classroom at my kid's school. They had 2 of them set up, and that's another great place for this to be, is like, a way for kids to learn more about it. And they have a whole program with Gardyn, but more about them. So they have their home setup's 30 plants. It's not all the way around. It's kind of linear in the way that, you'd be looking at it and just kind of on one side. They have the pump, they have the lights, they have an app that's really awesome at like helping you to be, keep everything on schedule, but it also has cameras. And that was really fun because then I could be somewhere else and the plants, I could take a look at them and see how they were doing. This one was a little nerve-wracking because I set it up and then immediately I had to leave for like a month and a half, and my non-green-thumbed husband had to take care of it for me, and he did great. He was able to do that. The Gardyn's nice because you can actually take a look at where things are in lifetime and even compare it, take screenshots and see how it's come along. That does retail for $900, the home does. And then they also have a smaller studio version for $550. Both are on sale right now. So if you looked at their website, you can see that. And like I said, they have a whole classroom program. So if this was a teacher looking for it, that might be somewhere that I'd recommend that they go because they get a deeper discount on that. As far as the information that I have for this, I don't think I've got anything else to tell you except that if you have questions, if you want to know more, if you want to have some more ideas of, how this works, let us know. Go ahead and comment. Also, maybe subscribe. And hey, if you want to share it, I'm cool with that too. But otherwise, just keep it healthy. Bye.